of the Millennials. I am welcome everyone to Voices of the Millennials. I am your host, Elle lyon, and I'm here today. We're going to be talking. Today was actually supposed to be an open mic, to be honest. And it's interesting because the other topic that we were going to pair with the open mic was all about redirection versus rejection. Okay, so today we are not doing the open mic. So if you are out there and you wanted to see some performers, we are going to reschedule. I hope that they're all available. But life happens and technical difficulties happen. And this is a brand new podcast. I am a brand new host here. So I think that, we are definitely going to get our stuff together. We're going to make sure that next time our open mic is even bigger and better than what we had planned for you tonight. I know that there's some friends right now that are watching. I do want to shout out, and I want everyone who is watching right now to please do me the biggest favor. And please do follow the artists that were prepared to perform tonight. They're all in my posts on my Instagram. You can find me. It's my whole name all together. ELLEDELYON. And today you are listening to me on Love Bay Afro Beat Music Talk Radio. And we are here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And we just chat about, things that millennials care about. And even people that are outside of the millennial age bracket, because really, to me, age ain't nothing but a number. That's a quote that I really love by, the late and great Aaliyah, who was a singer and songwriter and performer, amazing talent. And today we were going to show you some amazing talents. But since we can't, it doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy these amazing talents. Okay. I want you to please go out there and please look up the artists that were in my post today. First, you'll have to follow me on Instagram in order to be able to see my post. So, you see how I'm doing that there? I want you to go follow me. So go follow me, check out my post, check out the artists that I tagged. There was King Yin, Poet Trey, and also Sedelia. These are all fabulous spoken word artists that I get to work with on a daily basis, I would say. And actually, I do want to take this moment to, shout out the individuals before me that really brought me to the point that I'm at today. Yes, shout out to my, someone else that I get to work with. Charisse, you are a high one, honestly. Crystal High Power. She has an amazing business where she sells crystals and gems and stones and just things to really uplift you. As she is a very uplifting person, I really, really appreciate you, sis, for coming in and, checking us out on Voices of the Millennials. So as I was letting you know, there's some artists out there that I get to work with on a daily basis. In my day job, I organize arts events for emerging artists, and I help to bridge the gap for them to become professional artists. And I do that for a lot of reasons. I do that because when I was younger, that was something that I don't even know if I really knew that I wanted it, but I definitely needed that. I do think that if I had been given certain opportunities when I was younger, my life would have ended up differently. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who may feel the same, that, if certain things were not put in your way, that you would have experienced something different. You would have achieved something greater, maybe. Now, what if it's the opposite, though? What if, hello, Ron. Hello, hello. Yes, yes. Welcome. And thank you for joining. And so, what I was speaking about was, what about the opposite of that? What if things were put in your way to stop you from, experiencing something horrible, something tragic? There's so many times my mom has this saying that she says, follow her mind or follow my mind. And she'll say things like, if I would have followed my mind, then I would have did this. Or if I would have followed my mind, then I wouldn't have done that. And that's something that is from the Caribbean culture. Shout out to all the Caribs out there. And I'm sure that there's some, African proverbs, because we are all the same people at the end of the day. Like, let's be real, right? And so that being said, my mom would say these things: follow my mind. If I had followed my mind, and to me, in modern day terms, I'm going to say that that means following your intuition, following your gut. Some people say following that little voice inside of your head that says, do this or do that, or don't do this or don't do that, right? Um, and today, I have to admit that I had that voice. I had that voice all day long. Everything I was trying to do technically on the computer, on the phone, all of it was going down the drain. I don't know if Mercury is still in retrograde. I don't know who believes in that, but I telling you that today was just a non-compute day for me. And for somebody that is trying to spread their message virtually, this is a problem. Or is it? Or is it? That's what I'm wondering right now. Like, I'm literally in my seat wondering if perhaps this rejection from technology that I have experienced today, all day long, technology has been rejecting me. But now I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, perhaps technology is redirecting me. It's redirecting me. I don't know to what. It's going to be this, because we are having this show. We are live and we are going to make this happen no matter what. That's the kind of person that I am. It is difficult to go through. Yes, Ron, you have a voice that's telling you to keep writing music. Okay, Ron, you have helped me. This is the redirection that we needed. Ah. Okay, so I love writing. Writing is my first love ever in art. And it's what even inspired me to do this open mic in the first place. As I was telling you, I get to work with artists every day. Where we all started in organizing arts events was with open mics. That organization is called Rise Edutainment, and I want to shout them out because honestly, without them, I would not be sitting here today. I'm so proud to work for this organization. And they started out doing open mics 12 years ago. I went to one 12 years ago and I never stopped going, pretty much. And from that day, I kept, yes, oh my gosh, Ron, you're making an Afrobeat song? Okay, maybe somehow we could bring Ron in. Maybe my friends in the back could figure out how to bring Ron in. Or next time, Ron, next time, I would love for you to come on every last Wednesday of the month. We are going to try this again, okay? And I'm going to do something that if I had followed my mind, as my mom always says, I would have done a rehearsal. And because I know that me and technology, although we have to work together, we just don't often get along. I don't know what it is, but me and technology, we have beef. Maybe because I'm vegan now, technology is no longer my friend. I'm thinking that is why technology's mad at me. But I'm going to like reconcile with technology. We're going to get this. We are not. This will not be the end, okay? So Ron, if you're still there, I want you to please work on that song. Please follow that voice inside of your head that is telling you to keep writing music, because I had that voice too. And it took me a long time to listen to that voice. I would go to these open mics and I would sit there. Sometimes I would perform. Like, I think on the third time that I went, I'm like, I'm ready for this. I'm getting up there. I'm performing. What I performed was my diary on steroids, pretty much. Like, it was my journal. I always used to write in my journal, about my daily adventures. Oh, you are scheduled to be on the show with your singing partners on Saturday. Amazing. That's Highway 6 to Africa, I believe. That's a really amazing show that also comes on here on Love Bay Afro Beat Music Talk Radio, because we do it all. We give you the beats, we give you the talks and the music, right? So Ron, you're going to be on. I can't wait to hear you. And make sure if you're tuning in that you go and check out that as well. The other shows on this radio station, because we be streaming to many different countries, on many different platforms. So there's many different ways to tap into what we have going on here. And what I was speaking about was the fact that, sometimes we have to listen to that voice in our head, maybe that feeling in our gut, or follow your mind, as my mom would tell me. And I was letting you know, I'm doing a little story time right now. This is like redirection in progress. Okay. So this is not rejection. Yes, technology said, no, not today. We're not going to let you bring on your guests. The mics are not going to work and you can't hear them, but you can see them. I know they're out there. I just want to shout them out one more time. Kingyun, Poetry, as well as Sedelia. I appreciate you for, jumping to the call. When I asked, you came, you said you would be there, and you were on time. So I want to shout you out. And next time we will get you in. And I want to also extend this opportunity to everyone who's out there that might have a talent. It doesn't only have to be poetry, singing, or using your voice. Maybe you dance, maybe you write, and maybe you want to just share that writing. There's also the opportunity to be able to do things like that on this virtual open mic. We're also going to bring through people that are visual artists to be able to show us their art. And actually, oh, because of the way the TV is, this is actually some art that I created, just things that I do when, I am wanting to channel my energy into something else. And I was letting y'all know about I think this was my first experience at an open mic. I do not think I had been to an open mic before the Rise open mic. So 12 years ago, I went to an open mic. It was my third time being there. I decided to be brave, get up on stage because everyone there was so amazing and they were sharing really, it should never be. You're right. Technology should never be the be all and end all. So you are right, Ron. And I'm gonna take that, put it in my the back of my mind so I never forget that, before there was technology, there was the power of the pen, our voices. But I am glad that technology is allowing me to at least speak to all of you today. I am glad about that. Give thanks for what we do have. That is something that I always have to keep in mind, is using what I have where I am and, while I have it. That being said, back to my story time with open mic. So third time being there, I get up there. I had a plan. I had this passage that I wrote out, but as I told you, this was like my diary on steroids. So this was not this was not actually, I thought it was a plan in my mind. I'm a big visionary, I suppose. So everything looks really good in my head. But if I don't put it down on paper or actually recite it, that was the issue, actually. That was the issue. I did not rehearse this piece whatsoever. I wrote it all down. It looked great on paper to me. And I'm a big writer, not so much at that time performer. So I think that I know that it was my fear that stopped me from doing the things that I needed to do to make sure that I was prepared for the opportunity. Because it was a big opportunity for me to get up on stage, even in front of 20 people, two people, one person. It's a big opportunity. And I had never had that kind of opportunity before. I never even heard of an open mic. When I went to this open mic, I felt like I was transported into a movie. People were snapping their fingers and it felt like magic. And that's really why I was so inspired to bring this idea to the virtual stage. In the pandemic, we were able to do that. And a lot of people's lives were touched, including my own. I worked on my artistry a lot more because of the fact that I had to show up for community as the host. And I wanted to make sure that I was prepared. So I make sure that I, wrote poems and all this stuff. But that was me, fast forward to the pandemic. But all those years ago, I just used to write things down and then I'm like, I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna spit it. And then I went up there and I did. I said what I wrote, but it was, I think, quarter way through, I started to realize that one, there was a lot of words on the paper. And I was thinking to myself, damn, when am I going to get to the end? And if I'm feeling that way, how is everyone else feeling? Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ron. Ron's letting me know, and I appreciate that. And at this open mic, they were cheering me on. They were saying, "Yay, you're doing good. Keep going." They were snapping their fingers for certain lines that I was dropping. I was feeling good, but also I was feeling like I wrote too much, I said too much. I wondered why I even wanted to share any of this. And I think that intention is a big part of performance. Having an intention of why you want to share this piece. At the time, I think I just wanted other people to hear my thoughts, and I wanted to feel valued, heard, and seen. Um, at the time, please know that this is just not what I was thinking at the time. All I was thinking was, I wrote this thing. I think it sounds good. Other people should hear it and tell me that I'm great. Um, Now that's not my intention when I perform. I'm really thinking about the audience. I'm thinking about, the lines that I'm saying and who it might touch, like how it could transform their lives because of the way that my life was transformed by the words that I used to hear at these open mics. And because I started to be introduced to this community of artists and creatives, it just expounded my own creativity. I found myself by losing myself in the service of others. And that's actually I think, kind of our motto a little bit at my workplace, Rise. We definitely believe in that it's all about the fact that we are able to do what we do is because we have people to do that for. And so I'm very grateful to the community that shows up and he cheers me on, even when I'm spewing my guts and letting people know everything about me. But I felt very vulnerable and dare I say, like naked on that stage. By the time I was done, I think I did cry because so many of the things that I was talking about were so personal to me that I was literally like saying exactly what happened instead of finding, that poetic or metaphorical way to let people know how the things I had been through related possibly to the things they had been through. But I wasn't really thinking about that when I first wrote down all of those words at my first open mic. And the thing that was great is that everybody, as I said, was very encouraging and they definitely told me to come back. Some people gave me feedback that they're like, yeah, that was like reading your diary. I didn't know how to take that at the time. I felt a little way about it because I didn't feel amazing that I shared all that stuff. Like I didn't feel that great and the thing is that I didn't even think about how I wanted to feel after I shared that. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the audience. I just thought about writing it down and getting it out there. Exactly. And to my lovely listeners out there today, Ron and Charisse, or Crystal, y'all better follow her, Crystal Higher Power, and Ron Molinga. Thank you so much. Both who are also agreeing with the fact that, you need to have intention behind what you're writing, behind your performance. It's very important to think about how your pieces can relate to the people that you are performing them for and remembering that, if that thought makes you feel like, oh, I just want to get my music out there or my art out there and I don't really care if anybody relates, then I would have to question or ask you, and this question helped me to be able to start making pieces that also felt good to me, but I knew were hitting with the audience. And so I would question, why do you do this? What is your why for why you want to create art, why you want to perform it? Ask yourself whys for all those questions to help you come to these conclusions about the type of art that you want to disseminate and publicize and share with the world. All right. So that's my little spiel on, how we got here today. And today's topic is, and will be called redirection versus rejection. So I just told you my story that I had this whole open mic plan. I was going to bring friends on. They were going to perform for you. I wasn't going to have to talk so much. But that didn't go the way that I planned. I even I did all the things that I thought that I needed to do, But just as technology was failing me, what thing I realized that I didn't do was actually have a dress rehearsal with the technology. Okay. You need to rehearse the things that you want in this life. And I know that because I'm a huge, I recite affirmations, I recite mantras, I recite the things that I want to see show up in my life. I recite them in my head, I recite them in my heart, and then I recite them out loud. I write them down. I look at these things and I look at them again because I know that with this repetition, this is how I'm going to bring these things into my life consistently. And this is how I'm going to be able to attune even my behaviors to the things that I need to do to be able to see these things come in my life consistently. Without doing these rehearsals or these rituals, engaging in these habits, then the things that you want in life, they often do not come to you. And if they do come to you, sometimes it's really difficult to see. And we have a comment right now from Ron saying, always have a plan B as things don't always go as we want. But but this can sometimes be even better. And I love this. I love this so much, what you're saying, Ron. I'm just going to make sure that technology does not fail me again because I see that my plug for my computer is trying to be out of the socket. Why, technology, are you trying to teach us this lesson? Is it just really to bolster this this life lesson that we're talking about today about, redirection versus rejection? It's a relationship that is ongoing. You often have to, as Ron so eloquently said, have this kind of plan B in the back of your mind that and the plan B doesn't even always need to be a fully formulated plan. Like, I must admit that today I did also have a plan in my head that, hey, if the open mic doesn't go off for whatever reason, maybe no one signs up or whatever it is, that I am going to make sure that I am going to have a topic to talk about with the guests that come on as well. I want to make sure that we are able to chat with each other about something that relates to their music, but also relates to them as a human being, and then hopefully makes them relatable to others. And I know that everybody can relate to like a rejection in their life. I'd love if you are here listening right now to let me know about, something that you might have seen as your biggest rejection, but then ended up being your biggest redirection. I told you about a little one today. This one is small. It's small. It feels big because we're on air, but truly it is small. And the more that I talk about it, the funnier it gets that this is how it all went today. And honestly, for me, when life gives you lemons, I make lemonade. Like my status on all of my profiles, your WhatsApp is making lemonade because I consider myself to be pretty good at making sweet out of sour situations. And since, you know what, like that reminded me of a line from a poem that I wrote. I'm definitely still going to perform because I want to inspire other people out there to come on to the open mic. It will be at the end of June, on June 26th, I believe is the actual date. And we will try this again, but this time we will have a rehearsal. All right. Anybody that wants to be on the open mic, be prepared for us to have a mini rehearsal before we get on. All right. So we're going to do it the day before. We're going to test it out. We're going to make sure that we are good to go. Letting my friends know who helped me in the back, DJ Jen and TYB. Thank you so much. We tried it today. We tried. They were so patient. And I really, really appreciate you. And what we'll do next time is we'll make sure we have our tech rehearsal, dress rehearsal, and we'll make sure that it's all working for you so that when we come on the air, we give you the best of us when we get here. All right. So that is what we're going to do. And that's what I think is probably the best part about redirection or rejection is the lesson that you learn. And that's where the redirection comes from, because it's not a rejection. It's not like, oh, never, ever try to do this again. No, that is not necessarily the lesson I think that's to be learned here. I think for me, the lesson is try again, but try again from experience. try again and incorporate your experience into what you are trying to do next. And Crystal High Power has said, my biggest rejection would be with friends, and it redirected me to my true soul tribe. That one, I'm a snap to that. I definitely can relate to that one. I think a lot of us can. Sometimes the friends that we have help us to find the people or our soul tribe, the ones that we should be with, the ones that we really get along with, and the ones who have our best interests at heart. Rejection is the lesson that we learn. It is. This is again, my girl CHP coming through with the bars and just, really reminding us that this happens to everybody. There are always people in our lives that redirect us to, I think, where we need to be. And it's interesting because this whole week has been a lot of redirections for me, or just remembering the times when I have been redirected and thanking the universe for putting me in these positions, putting me in the position. Ooh, someone is able to join us. Is it working? It's working, I think. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. We have one of our friends, Poet Trey, and actually, he told me that he wouldn't be able to be here early. So this is again a divine redirection. We will see, though. We'll see if technology is gonna allow you to hear this young poet come through. But Poet Trey is a poet that I met actually through Rise. So shout out to that organization once again, reaching intelligent souls everywhere, right? Hey, Poet Trey. And so this artist is someone that, I've seen them do their thing. I've seen them show up for community. They hold space. They organize arts events as well. And I'm really, really excited to have them on here. And perhaps, it's just in us discussing all these redirections, redirecting our own energies, and maybe even the positivity now. They're here sensing my voice and bringing us a poet to come through. So, Poet Trey, can you take yourself off of mute? Because this was the issue we were having before, and we will see if it is working now.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And just I'm curious to know if you're on a laptop right now, or
I am. I'm at the library. Yeah.
that is the issue. Maybe you cannot do the mobile devices. We will see if that's the issue.
Oh,
But yay,
mm.
you're working. I can hear you very well.
That's
So
amazing.
nice to see
I'm
you.
new to this. This is interesting. I've never used this website.
Right? What do you think so
Mm.
far? This is new to me too, which is why we had a little technical difficulty today, but I'm really glad that you were able to make it. And today is our virtual open mic. I'm going to do a piece too, but I would love if you start us off with a piece that you might have. And today we're talking about, my topic was always this, so it's just funny that this all happened, but redirection versus rejection. What does that mean to you? Like, does it mean anything to you at all? We were just chatting with some of our friends, Ron and also CHP, about what they think that means to them, and how their biggest redirection and their biggest rejection, how it led to that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big question. Man, honestly, I want to say these past 2 years has definitely felt like a redirection, even if it may have sound or felt like a rejection at one point.
Mhm.
Like in terms of so many things, in terms of like occupation, like in 2021, I was a welder. Actually, from 2016 up until 2021, I was a welder, but I absolutely hated that industry. And then the pandemic got serious. I disappeared for almost 2 years. I came back, and now I'm working full time at a not for profit, Skills for Change, and
Ooh.
it's completely just redirected me. And ironically enough, the position I'm working in is the bridge to work specialist. So like that's just fancy for saying a program coordinator for
Mhm.
the welding pre-apprenticeship. So I felt like it was a full
What?
circle moment for me.
Oh my, that is no, that's a big that is exactly what I'm talking about. That where you think that this thing that is you hate it, or it's hurting your heart. but then all of a sudden something happens to redirect you. You think you're getting rejected, but then no, not you getting redirected into your actual purpose, and having the experience from before to help the people that you're working with now. Like you were them one time.
Absolutely.
That's huge. I love that
Yeah.
story. Thank you for
So it
sharing
feels
that.
good. It feels empowering. Yeah, because I didn't predict any of this. Like I just knew for sure I wanted to stop this industry, and I'm like, what am I going to transition into? And then it just led to that. It just felt so divine, you know. Like, of course, there was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of like uncertainty, but here I am.
Yes, no, I totally understand and relate. Like and I hope that people are feeling inspired by that, that, you might be sitting there right now at your desk and listening to us and thinking like, I hate where I'm at right now in my life. And not recognizing that there could be this opportunity that exists for you to get redirected. And it might just be about you listening. Like, what would you say is what really pushed you to get out of the job that you hated and get into like the job that you're at now? Like, was it
Wow.
just because of the pandemic or
I want to say it helps with that because I really I want to say faith, but also I think just really knowing myself and knowing the type of work that I want to do. I wanted to still be with community. I wanted to help community. Um, Even at the time of the pandemic, not to sound controversial, but there's certain restrictions that I wasn't going to read, and I was going to stand by until whenever they lifted their restrictions,
Mhm.
which led me to just doing more youth work. Because if I was a welder, I'd have to, get pokes to work and whatever. I'm not
Um,
trying to diss anybody, but so many restrictions that I just didn't agree with. Okay, I'll be unemployed for a bit. Like I was working um, part time and like on call. It was still paying bills, but it wasn't a lot of money. But it still felt like, okay, this is what I got to do. Is giving me money, and then things started to lift. I started to just be more intentional with the work I wanted to do. Um, I found a lot more opportunities in like certain niches. So like even what kind of helped me get to this role, I did a placement with Skills for Change, but in a different department, the Black Youth Action Plan, I think BCAP or B, I forgot what it's called, but it's
mhm.
pretty much a Black led organization within Skills for Change. So that kind of helped get me in the foot of Skills for Change. I just kept working my ass off. Um, and then, yeah, there was internal postings that I applied to, which was this program coordinator position. And I'm like, okay, I might have a chance at this because it was in the welding field. Yeah, I got experience. And I got the job. It was really nice.
That's
It was
amazing.
really smooth, actually. Yeah.
I love that. It's true. And I think, I mean, just hearing your story, it really sounds like you started to see opportunities like within this thing that felt horrible. Like, I'm losing my job. I have to get a needle to continue working. Like, definitely hear you on that one. I was leaving any job that tells me that. And yeah. And then now what am I going to do? Like, I'm sure you were making pretty decent money being a welder. And now having to like start, well, kind of seems like you're starting over, but now I feel like you found your calling. Like, that sounds so beautiful to me, what you get to do
Wow.
now.
Thank you. Yeah. It does feel purposeful, I would say. And it's not that I think I hated the industry, but the hands-on skills of welding, it's amazing. I'll
Yeah.
give it that.
Yes, I've actually, so now I know why you create such cool stuff because I did not know, like, I seen you make a lot of, yeah, like was it a skateboard into a shelf? No, a chair, a shelf.
In the chairs and also like floating shelves.
Yes,
Yes.
both of
Yeah.
them. Like, you are a creative through and through. And I think that that is one of the skills that helps with being able to see rejection as redirection. When you have that open, creative mind, you don't see a skateboard as only something to ride. Like, as soon as it gets old, you're like, actually, this could be a shelf. Like, actually, this could be a chair. And I really did like that chair. It was so cute. So yeah, I love the stuff that you're making and showing people. And I'm really glad that you came on today and that you were able to get on and tell us the story. I don't even know if this story would have come out without everything else that happened. I didn't even know that all
Yo,
about you. So give thanks, universe. I see what you're
give
doing.
thanks for real.
But before we go, I want to make sure that I get some of your amazing talent in there. So
Okay,
if you do have a poem or two to share, I would love to hear it. It could be on anything. And I sent you all the info before, so I know you got this. I'm so excited. Haven't heard you for a while. So I'm gonna put myself on mute and I'm gonna watch.
I do. I have a poem that honestly I need to touch up and rehearse some more, but I really like this poem because I consider myself a happy-go-lucky poet. A lot of the things I write is like very optimistic, very positive, but this poem is called Fears, and it's just me. I think I've accumulated a lot of fears of the pandemic, but I'm able to write them and just kind of pretty much just say how it is for me, you know? So in a way, it does feel empowering. I'm gonna share this. Yeah, so it's called Fears. I'm afraid of love and the attachments that come with it. I'm afraid of growing old with someone where I'd rather grow young. Afraid of being with someone I don't want, living somewhere I don't want, and making money in some way I don't want. I'm afraid of regret. Afraid of that feeling when you meet the woman of your dreams and still feel empty. Like when millionaires acquire all this money with the hopes it'll solve all the misery and problems, just to be comfortable with the same shit, more money. I'm afraid of labels, so I'll go labelless. I'm afraid of wasted time, energy, and awareness. I love solitude, but afraid of confinement. I'm afraid of the chaos. So I create a force filled with my aura, filled by my past experiences and infinite amount of possibilities. It repels like holy water any audacity, manipulation, disrespect. I remain sturdy, like the boulders and rivers unmoved. I let the water wash away what I could not, so chaos can just flow. I control what I can, which brings me peace. Afraid I'll fuck up another relationship through my demons orchestrating the wickedest heists, pulling every possible string off tempo, the conductor, absent from the seat, allowing anything to steer me in a direction, or my consciousness stays hostage, tied up, mouth taped, trapped in the trunk of the car, kicking and screaming for help. Afraid I'll be left alone again when facing my biggest enemy, myself. I had to break down to break through. Afraid I won't get that Sade type of love again. You know that vinyl record that has Sade's face squinting and is titled The Best of Sade? Those are the love songs I'm talking about. Afraid I'll say fuck it and be with a white girl. That sounds like gentrifying my deep ancestral lineage as continued to guide me through the trials and tribulations of life. For a Starbucks franchise, the name of consumer culture, that sounds like a big mistake. Afraid to tell anyone my love life because misery is infatuated with company. People always project their own failures in relationships and enjoy the role of being a victim as opposed to seeing where they made the mistakes. Everything is subjective to one's experience. Afraid I'll believe other people's narratives and perceptions of me and get caught in a perpetual cycle of people pleasing and never feel content with anything I do or provide. Afraid I'll go completely off grid and live no matter because I fuck with nobody and I'm this close, but afraid to be outcasted from community. Afraid I'll get in my own way again. Afraid of the generational traumas, narratives, and scarcity mindset that run in my family. Afraid that I'll be a constant object in society where my worth is only valued by the work and substance I produce. So not only will I be people pleasing, I'll be society pleasing just so I can feel accepted, neglected in that in between stage where the most challenges, struggles, growths, wins, and losses will occur. I'll only be celebrated in love for the wins I bring. I find peace and stillness like delayed gratification, knowing it's worth the wait, but I'm afraid of stagnation, so I keep moving. Because I refuse to have my stubbornness keep me from growing in the areas of my life I know I need. Afraid I won't be treated with the gentleness and care I give to others. Afraid to break down in front of the people who viewed me as their strong friend. Afraid to show my loved ones the demons I'm struggling with. Afraid I'll never find a way to express what goes on my mind when it's absent of joy. So I found one of many solutions. I wrote all of this with the trust that when I need to face myself again, I'll refer to the pen. Knowing life is worth living and it's never really the end. It's the beginning of something new. Thank you. That's that piece. The piece on fears.
Yes. I love that because everything you said made me think of what we're talking about today, like overcoming these voices and these other external things that make us think that we cannot achieve, what we see for ourselves. Yeah, I felt a lot in that poem. I'd love to know what was your inspiration, because you said fears was the thing that, started to, I guess, get that out of you. But yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about why you were inspired to write that.
Many reasons. One, I definitely want to shout out the poet. I'm forgetting his last name, but Patrick,
Oh,
Filipino
Debelen?
poet. Yeah,
No.
de
Yeah.
Belen.
Mhm.
He hosted a writing session with Next Gen Arts, which is another collective, and he performed a piece called Fears. I thought it was phenomenal the way he was able to like not only confidently say his fears, like you can hear that he was hurt, but he said it with so much finesse. It was like, damn, like I'm inspired to write something like that myself, but based off of my fears.
Mm,
So I definitely have to shout him out for that. He gave me the inspiration. Two, again, like I said, I made a lot of happy pieces, a lot of pieces like will big up myself, which is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I really want to tap into a different side of myself where I'm really addressing my shadows and just, shit that I've dealt with in my life,
mhm.
things that I've noticed by myself that I feel like I should start to, check before I get wrecked.
Exactly.
And yeah, just really being able to commit to being, I guess you could say vulnerable. One of my first pieces talks about vulnerability, but really being able to hit all aspects of that. So even people getting to hear like some really dark stuff about me or like some shadow versions of me, I think that also radiates confidence, but also some vulnerability as well.
Mhm, mhm. It's true, and I think it makes you more relatable when people know that you have a dark side. Not like, "Oh, I have a dark side. I'm going to, like, kill you." No, no, no. But just in terms of knowing that you've been through stuff, knowing that you're a human being, you know what it's like to fall down, like, you know what it's like to get hurt, because we all go through that. So it does make so much sense what you're saying, about the fact that, yeah, it's cool to explore your dark side. I think that I I think I'm like the opposite of you in usually why I write poetry is because I'm channeling all the negative feelings into something. So usually my poetry or my songs are dark. I often call it sad girl music,
Mm,
because of that. But the piece that I decided to share today, it's one that's, like you, I think I'm gonna go with you, and I'm gonna do one that I'm working on. And I hope that everyone, yeah, they feel inspired to work on those pieces that you're working on. I know Ron was working on a song out there in, virtual land. And yeah, I hope that we all, keep working on these and we come back and we do them again, because that would
mhm.
be amazing to be able to see the growth. And Patrick, I do want to shout him out because he recently put out, and I will try to put the link up on something of, wherever you find me, Elle lyon, you can find me on stuff. Um, Patrick, he put out a master class. It's like 25 minutes. I haven't watched it yet, but he told me he was doing this.
Oh, wow.
And it's because I was asking him too. I'm like, when are you going to do another writing workshop? I want to be in it. Like, and he said, capacity wise, he's not going to do that just yet. But what he does have is this virtual thing coming, and it is out there. It's on YouTube, and you can find his work. I'll send you the link personally, Poetry, so that
Okay.
yeah, maybe we'll
Yeah,
do it
I'm
together.
interested in that. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Thank you.
But he's oh man, his poetry's so good. His feeling, the way he delivers, yeah, big inspiration. If you haven't heard him, go out there and listen to him. And we're almost at the end of our show today. Sometimes it feels like so long, 1 hour, but then it goes by so quickly. And so I'd love to thank Poetry for coming through, and sharing your poetry with us. Where can the people continue to find you and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really active on my Instagram. So you can follow me at Poetry. That's POETTRAY underscore. And then you'll see all of my contacts, all of my link trees, and any pretty much resources you want to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate you so much. We will definitely chop it up in the DMs. I am going to hit you up and give you those links. And I hope that you are able to come on another time with us. We do this every last Wednesday of the month virtually. So, yeah, come through if you're available on another Wednesday.
Okay, will do. I'll definitely try. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
you. Yes. Love, love, peace, and love. We'll see
Peace.
you next time. And I'm going to end off today's show here with just one poem. And okay, so this is a poem that I'm working on. And I'm also going to give this as our prompt, or, kind of, I always like to close out with something that's, motivational or makes you think about what we've been talking about today. Was all about redirection versus rejection, and being able to see rejection as redirection. Keep following your mind, as your mom as my mom would say, meaning that, follow your gut, do all of those things, but at the same time recognize that sometimes life is just going to throw things in your way, and it's going to be up to you to try to find a way to make it still taste like lemonade, okay, when life throws you lemons. So this is actually my poem that I'm working on right now, and it is called Making Lemonade, which is my status all day. I look at a status as a state of seeing humans in flux promoted. Let me start that again. Redirecting. And actually, if we can get poetry off the screen there, not sure if we're able to do that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's the last piece. And join us every Wednesday here on Love Bay Afro Beat Music Talk Radio. Okay. And thank you, Ron. This is my poem. It's called Making Lemonade. I look at a status as a state of seeing. Humans in flux prompted, I'll tell you what I'm being. I am making lemonade. I am taking sour situations and replacing them with positive affirmations, words I let drip off my tongue like honey, sweet declarations, talking about boundaries and setting my own pace, knowing that slow is steady and steady is fast, and I'm running my own race. And the only thing standing in my way is the thing I won't embrace. It's the same thing I see in the mirror when I'm looking at my face. It stopped me from going where I said I want to be. It stopped me from being everything I see while I am dreaming. I am making lemonade with all the negativity, words that were said to me, some by them, but mainly by me. All the negativity I said to me because I thought I needed their validation. I am no longer putting up with any hesitation because I know I'm good enough and great is my designation. And yes, I got some things to learn on this journey, which is my destination. The price has gone up and I have some stipulations. I am no longer begging, pleading, or chasing. I am making lemonade. I am taking sour situations and replacing them with positive affirmations, words I let drip off my tongue like honey, sweet declarations. And that is all that I have for you for now. And come back, all right, at the last Wednesday, June 26th, because I promise that I am going to I'm going to really work on that poem. That was just something I quickly wrote up. But I always say, one of my mentors told me to put your work through 6 different types of edits. On another show, we'll talk about those 6 different types of edits, but rehearse, 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 recite, recite, recite. Make sure you're out there practicing, and have a beautiful night. Peace and love. See you next time, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Voices of the Millennials.